Today's project is fixing this gas leak on this moped because it leaks gas and I can't figure out where it's leaking from, so let's try to find the gas leak and repair it. This particular moped was made in '76 in Austria by some company that I can't pronounce. And they clearly made a lot of them because the serial number here is very high, up into the 8 millions. 1.5 horsepower. And this does have the single speed transmission. This was available up to a 2 horsepower engine and available with a 2-speed transmission. Let's get to work on this gas leak. The problem about this gas leak here is it's one of those gas leaks that like leaks, but you can't see it leak. It just leaks overnight. So let's put some more fuel in it. This be enough for it to leak. And my solution to try to find where it's leaking from, as you can see, like it's just wet around here. Like it doesn't really just leak. So I went to the hardware store and got one of these rubber plugs, and I want to try to shove it up in here so I can take a bicycle pump and just put a little bit of compressed air in the tank, a few pounds, see if I can pressurize it enough to get it to leak. Here's a second plug because I've already cut the wrong one. Cut the first one the wrong way, so let's try this again. I cut the bottom out here, so let's take this, put it on there, take a clamp, Okay, we got the plug clamped on and sealed up on the tank of the neck. Let's turn the fuel on and start pumping a little bit of air to the tank. Oh man, we got 20 pounds in there. Let's not put too much and explode the tank. Can we see a fuel leak anywhere? The only one downside is we are going to be flooding the carburetor a lot because we're going to be pushing back the seal in the carburetor. We are definitely leaking out the carburetor. You look at this carburetor on this side of the moped, you can see some seepage around here, especially on the float bowl gasket. I suspect the float bowl gasket is very slightly leaking because it's going to be a much more accelerated leak, and it's going to be leaking all over the place because we got a lot more pressure in the tank than just gravity on the fuel system right now. So we're just trying to accelerate any leakage, and my guess would be it's probably the float bowl gasket. So let's try that first. Take a look down on this gas tank. You can see it's a little crusty, so hopefully there's not a rust hole on this tank, but I don't think it's that. I think it's the carburetor leaking. Let's pull this carburetor off here. Interesting. So as you can see here, if I come in here and you can look, this bleeder here that bleeds off the air so you can fill up the carburetor is starting to leak, and I think pressurizing the tank accelerated it because I went to tip it over. It started pouring fuel everywhere. So I don't think it's a float bowl. I think it's this. So we need to get this carburetor off and see if we can figure out why this is not sealing correctly. Okay, here is the carburetor off the Moped. Let's open her up and see what's going on. Come on, needle. Gasket. There's what's in subject right there. Does that pull apart? I clean around it. The O-ring doesn't feel very good though. I wonder if we can pop this cap off. Jeez. Well, no O-ring, so I think probably it's designed to leak a little bit. Well, I think I actually just found the problem and it's not in the carburetor. Because over on the Moped, as I'm putting this back together, it's very slowly dripping fuel out of the fuel line with the fuel valve off. So I'm betting the petcock has gone bad, because I think this thing just leaks a little bit, but it's not a problem when you drive down the road. This is 70s carburetor technology here. There we go. That's working. You can see if you come over here, fuel is dripping. Fuel valve's in the off position. Fuel is dripping. Obviously, if you turn it on, it starts freaking pouring out of there. Okay, here. Let's take this fuel line here. Take this off. Take this clamp off. Drain this fuel out. Huh. I feel like that is supposed to be to connect it to something. That's probably not good. See, at the new part, they look the same, or they look pretty much the same, except there's this rod here, I believe, that runs down to the reserve tank, and yeah, it's corroded off in this one, so I guess it's gonna have to stay in there. Let's see, did this even thread on? Okay, so it is the right thread pattern. This part needs to go down in there. Switch sides on this. Let's switch that to this side. See if it'll go down in there now. Shove that in there. Probably have to cut this hose down. Well, I just hacked that off with a hacking saw, so that should be short enough now. There we go. Come on, yes. Oh yeah. She is dry. So that's repaired. So hopefully this thing won't puke fuel everywhere. Here is the carburetor. I put it back together last night. So let's take this fuel line here, shove it back on. To start this thing, we're going to turn the fuel on, put the choke on, hold this until the bowl fills up and gas pours out. And when you pull on this black lever, it will engage the engine and start spinning it over, and it should start. As you can see, it's been a couple days since we finished a repair job here, and there is no fuel leaking now, so that is repaired. We got the front suspension repaired in this video, and we took it out for a little test ride, and this thing actually rides really nice. Downhill is able to hit about 30-35 miles an hour, which is about as fast as you want to go on this thing. And it handles real nice. It's a fun little toy. It's just fast enough to have fun with.